Skateboarding, you can't compare it to any other sport. There's set rules. Tennis court's always going to be the same. The basketball court's always going to be the same. Unless you have the net 10 feet higher than it normally is, then you have the same struggle as what a street skater goes through in that spot that's not made for skating.
Things are happening, trying to trick in the street, cracks and cops.
You're risking your body. It's a mental battle for sure.
Once you can prove yourself in the streets is when you gain respect from your peers.
Blood, sweat, and tears. We keep doing it and we can't stop, so I think that's what love is for something.
What draws me to the skate spot is that it's unique and it looks different. You gotta be creative.
I love going through this whole process. That's what drives me.
Just so rewarding, working so hard for something.
You spend so much time filming a clip that might be a second or two.
A video part, it's like a little slice of your life.
Our trick filmed on the street, nothing beats that. This is what skateboarding is.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to X Games Real Street 2024. I'm your host, Brian Scheckler. Today, we are stepping outside of the arena and into the streets for the most authentic skateboarding competition in the world. Now, in its 15th year, X Games Real Street continues to showcase the true spirit of skateboarding and history in the making. This year, 6 professional skateboarders from around the world have teamed up with a filmer of their choice. Together, they've created 60-second video parts to feature their best tricks, creativity, and style, all filmed entirely in the streets. Today, we'll get an inside look at each team and see what it takes to make a video part. Then, our expert panel will judge these parts on a scale of 0 to 100 and award one team an X Games gold medal. Before we meet our judges and we dive into the action, let's take a look at some athletes who have already made history in X Games Real Street. And that is why X Games Real Street has become a staple in street skateboarding over the past 15 years, from legends like Nyjah Huston, Daewon Song, Dylan Reeder, Tori Pudwell, Jamie Foy. Everyone has been a part of Real Street. And speaking of legends, let's meet our experts who will be judging this street competition. So guys, it's an honor for me to be here today with you. I'm super glad I don't have to judge this, but what is the importance of Real Street? What you guys are looking for, judging criteria for the skateboarders we're about to see?
Yeah, I'm just looking for creativity. You know, it's good style, clean style. I personally like technical skateboarding.
As a certified Class 5 skate nerd video guy, the format's tricky, right? Because you got 1 minute. You have a really condensed time to like put all your footage together. So you don't have room for like a lot of B-roll and any basics that you would have had in a full part that's 3 or 4 minutes. You probably can't use those. So it's hard to have to nitpick and get that down on someone's skating, but if you have to judge, you have to make a decision. Those are the kind of things I'm looking for.
Just give me your best in 1 minute. Don't like put the filler. All killer, no filler.
It is hard to set a tone in 1 minute and wrap it up. You can't waste any time. You can't waste any tricks. But I mean, we're here because of the skateboarding, but I feel like how the filmers document it really makes or breaks the footage, and it makes or breaks the video parts. Yeah, sure. It fully matters. You know, without the filmer, you're left with just skating, and that doesn't translate, you know, if you don't have someone that's like telling that story with a thoughtful eye.
I think that's what we're gonna see today is these 6 athletes and their filmers really going for it and trying to put their best foot forward for 1 minute of footage. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. First up, we have Carlos Ribeiro and his filmer, Eric. What do you guys expect to see from this?
So I'm excited to see what he's got here. I mean, I'm a super fan of his skating. Clean, buttery ledge tricks and ultimate control on a flat bar.
And I think about switch tricks looking regular, hard in-twos, out-ofs, flip in, flip out. Carlos is great.
I just expect nothing but the best from both of them because they're the best at what they do.
Let's get into it. This is our first submission for this year's X Games Real Street. Check it out.
Around 11 years old, I remember that I was like convicted that I'm gonna be a pro skater. That's what I want to do for my life. Thank God I had the full support from my dad and my mom. I grew up in this town called Novo Hamburgo. It's in the south of Brazil. Coming from a poor family, it was hard for me to go to contests. And my dad had to like lay off the electricity bill. I remember times when like the electricity got shut off in our house. Like, we don't care about this. Let's take you to this contest. It's gonna help you grow. And that was very important. When I was 15, that's when I realized for me to be a pro skater, I need to leave Brazil. And my mom never hesitated. She's like, I'm not gonna stop you from going for your dream. You better go. When I showed up to California, things moved real quick.
Carlos Ribeiro making his third X Games appearance.
Filming video parts means the world to me. That's what drives me. When it comes to street skating, you want to do your best trick at that spot. It's a mental battle. You get a clip that's never been done on a spot that's been skated for like 30 years. It's such a rewarding feeling. I love it. I picked Eric Iwakura for this project, the best filmer in the game.
It was a dream of mine to like move to LA and see the skate life. When I moved from Brazil, I didn't know nobody, but I had a camera, so every Sunday, I started bringing my whole setup to Jake One because it's a legendary spot. And Carlos was there. That was the beginning.
We have a great connection. He knows how I work.
He's super technical. He always wants to push himself.
This real street part, it's a little different for me because I've been hurt. November 2021, I tore the deltoid ligament in my ankle, and that was a pretty bad injury. It took me about 1.5 years to get back from it. And then I got back into filming and I got hit with a blood infection. It was like out of nowhere. I was feeling good, and next thing you know, I'm in the hospital. It was a lot of risks of a lot of bad things could happen. They did a surgery on my ankle and my wrist, and thank God nothing bad happened. This is the first video I'm putting out after my surgery. Finally feeling good again on my skateboard.
He's like, okay, I'm gonna get through this. Tomorrow I'm gonna do better.
Just do your best at all times. And your best today has to be better than your best from yesterday. Coming from the third world environment, there's definitely a huge sense of gratitude. I definitely went past my expectations of what I've dreamed of being a pro skater. I'm just thankful, man. I'm just very, very thankful. My name is Carlos Ribeiro, and this is my X Games Real Street part.
So that was Carlos and his filmer, Eric, kicking it off for us. How do you guys feel about what you just watched?
He starts like you're supposed to, right? You start with a bang and you end with a bang.
Yep.
Yeah.
And his last trick was like the best. I mean, you couldn't do that any better. And I don't even know anyone that could do that trick.
That is so insane. It looks effortless, but that's his style, you know?
It's so cool. He's also creative, you know, that like susky the inside of the planner and a big spin out. It's cool. Like I would never imagine that's the trick you do at that spot. I mean, he never disappoints, never disappoints.
How did you guys like the filming?
Yeah, it's a good edit. They seem like a real complimentary filmer-skater combination.
They're homies.
Yeah.
You can tell.
You can tell.
Yeah, I feel like the chemistry was there, and I feel like the filming should make everything just look good. You really shouldn't be thinking about the filming so much. If occasionally a trick is filmed and it just is like, wow, that was filmed amazing. But for the most part, it should be something where you're just watching it effortlessly and you feel like you're just seeing it in the best possible way. And I feel like Eric nailed that.
We just witnessed an incredible video part from Brazil's Carlos Ribeiro. Next up, we have the East Coast finest, John Shanahan and his filmer, Brian. Guys, what are you looking forward to seeing in this?
It's got to go to Vern first. Resident Philadelphian.
What do you think?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot of Philly, East Coast crusty spots, hard to skate spots, not like what we just watched from Carlos's part, you know, like perfect California spots. It's gonna be the total opposite vibe. Penny's a great filmer. Can't wait to see the part.
All right, so this is video number 2, X Games Real Street 2024.
I don't like just your everyday cookie cutter, stair set, handrail, perfect ledge, you know, like I like the obstacle to be unique. It's more challenging when it's not so perfect. My name is John Shanahan. I'm from East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. I think what makes East Coast skateboarding so unique is that there's a lot of different variables. The spot could be very rough, cracks, doesn't grind very good. Not everything's gonna work out a certain way, so you have to learn how to adapt to your settings. My biggest East Coast influences are Josh Kalis and Stevie Williams. Just their style and how they do their tricks. It really influenced my skating. Real Street is a unique contest. In a traditional contest, people are like cheering you on. They want to see you do good. And when you're filming for a street part, you got all the elements going against you.
No, yeah.
Penny is one of my favorite people to work with in skating. If we're filming something, he's gonna make it look as good as he can, which is probably the most important thing with a filmer-skater relationship, trusting that their vision is on point with yours.
Me and John work pretty well together because we have the same eye for spots. We like the old spots that have been skated for years. We like spots that have been forgotten about and we kind of bring back to life. And we like spots that almost impossible to get time at.
How you gonna come in the building?
Filming with John is nice just because he really tries hard. He has a vision for everything, even like how everything looks, from clothing to spots.
If you mix in style and do your tricks a certain way and show your personality through your skating, I think that goes a long way. This Real Street part, I just wanted to keep it in the city. Every trick is in Philadelphia, mostly downtown. Just give it that city feel. That's what I like to see in a video part. It means a lot for me to carry the East Coast tradition forward, and to show that through my skating is pretty much the whole goal. My name is John Shanahan, and this is my Real Street part.
Guys, what do we think about that? Jamie, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think about that part?
I think it was all the things we thought it would be. He had the rough spots, the city ledges. All of it was filmed in Philadelphia, and you had the East Coast flair and all his gear. It was what we'd expect.
Okay. Jason, what do you think?
I think a lot of times when you watch him skate, it's not exactly what he's doing, it's how he does it. He made a half cab look so sick down a set of stairs. It's a half cab and a front board, and it looked awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, his last trick, tray flip, and it's like, you know, on paper, you're like, oh, it's a tray flip, but it looks really good over the bar.
That's cool. Byron, what do you think?
East Coast spots don't necessarily translate that well, I think, in videos because they're really crusty. And then like some of the spots he's skating like high level busts, so like it's like you can't even be there all day.
They're getting 5 tries and then you're out.
Yeah, like, you know, a lot of East Coast spots are like quick hits, so.
Does that factor into the way that you're gonna judge a part like that? Is knowing that you're from there and that you know that, like, yeah, you might only get one shot and do a gnarly trick on a spot like that, like.
Yeah, I take all that stuff into consideration. That's like real street, you know, like getting kicked out of a spot.
Right.
That's about as real as it comes, you know.
We've already seen 2 incredible and 2 very different video parts from Carlos Ribeiro and John Shanahan. And while these guys sometimes make it look easy, next, we will show you just what it takes to film an X Games Real Street video part. I love this side of skateboarding, what we just saw, and I think that the viewer needs to see what it takes to actually push yourself past the boundary of fear and to get a video part done. Jamie, what is a section and a montage like that, like, what does that stir up in you?
I mean, it makes me feel uncomfortable still. You know, it is a lot to take in. Like, some of those slams, I mean, multiple guys are falling on their heads and there's multiple knockouts in there, and the reality is that can happen. I mean, skating's dangerous, and it's just a part of it, and we know that from a really young age, and that, you know, there's a saying, you cruise around with dynamite in your pocket long enough, it's bound to go off.
Speaking of someone who knows how to slam, let's check out our third team from the land down under. We have Ben Lawrie and his filmer, Jeff Campbell. Check it out.
I've knocked all my teeth out and broken my jaw, broken all my fingers. My wrists are broken currently, got bones sticking out. I'm broken already. I'm only 27. My name's Ben Lawrie and I'm from Melbourne, Australia. Growing up here, it got me into skateboarding. Melbourne's the hub for skateboarding in Australia, and so representing Melbourne is definitely a big part of my identity.
I've been filming with Ben for almost 10 years now. He sets a high standard for himself and he really puts in the work to get tricks that are gonna outdo what he's done. That's what filming video parts is all about, is showing some sort of level of skating that's almost out of reach even for yourself. The streets is an uncontrolled environment. You're dealing with security, cops, traffic, pedestrians. And generally the spots are just much harder to skate because they're not designed for skateboarding. A couple of years ago, Ben took a break from skateboarding. He seemed to be on top of his game, and then suddenly he just disappeared.
I got super burnt out. I realized that I wasn't enjoying going skating and I was just putting way too much pressure on myself. And so I just stopped skating.
It's frustrating skateboarding and it's hard. Not only does it like beat up your own body, but you can also just dwell on not landing tricks. It's enough to drive you mad.
I had a lot of stuff that I had to figure out. so that I could feel comfortable and know that I can handle myself outside of just skateboarding. After about a year, I actually started skating again. Since coming back, I enjoy it a lot more, and I'm not trying to force it.
He found new ways to deal with things instead of beating himself up so much. He just seems a lot lighter and just enjoying it more, and I think it shows in his skating.
I'm definitely the least known person in this year's X Games Real Street, but I think that's kind of a good thing.
What's up? I think it could work to his advantage. He's got a unique way he skates and the way he does his tricks. People that don't know too much about his skating could be really impressed by what he can do.
Jeff and I definitely aligned with our vision. I'm really proud with what we put together. I don't have the expectation of winning, but I need the money. I live in my parents' house. My name is Ben Lawrie, and this is my X Games Real Street part.
All right, Ben Lawrie and Jeff Campbell doing it for Melbourne, Australia. What are the first impressions? I'll start with you, Jamie.
I liked, first off, that he was just like cruising through the streets and, you know, doing lines. And he seemed like he had a good speed, you know, to his skating, and I liked the song. So I was definitely feeling the part.
It made me want to go skating. Like, just even the first line was sick. Just starting out with a nose blunt. The back tail over the stairs, too, with the security guard, you know, and the bust factor. Like, you're not really going to be there all day.
Like the nollie heel and the pedestrians and the way that
was
the
sick.
girls in the
That was
way
my
of the
favorite
trick
trick.
while it's filming past.
Yeah.
Those kind of things you can't plan out.
Yeah, he did it. He did it so well. And the switchback tail, switchbacks that flip out was amazing as well.
Awesome. What about the last trick?
I think it's amazing. I think it's one of the gnarliest tricks we've seen so far, single tricks. I'm pretty critical about the way things are landed, and you know, I know it's insanely hard, and I never could do that in a million years, but I would have loved to have seen it landed a little bit cleaner.
I liked it, and it's almost like it added flavor to the part. Skateboarding doesn't always have to be perfect. Sometimes if you do it not perfect, there's a little intangibility to it that gets me excited. And then he does like the switch heel and slow-mo after. It's like edited well. He skates super fast. I like the whole thing.
I gotta agree with Jamie on this one. Sorry, Jason.
Here comes the hater.
Dude, the last trick was so good. I just wish he landed it better. I've never been a fan of a hands down on a make.
All right, amazing insights as always, guys. We are halfway through today's competition with 3 teams left to show us their 60-second video parts filmed entirely in the streets. This is all for a chance to win X Games gold. So far, we've seen amazing parts from Carlos Ribeiro, John Shanahan, and most recently, Ben Lawrie. Next up, we have Julian Lewis and his filmer, 2 times Real Street gold medalist, Don Long. Guys, what do you expect out of these 2?
So far, we've had 3 ledge guys, right? You know, like they're hitting ledges, they're hitting off a 2-stair, 3-stair, and then with Julian, you know, it's just gonna come to like death-defying long rails and stuff like that. So this is gonna be our first hucker.
I also know that Julian can switch it up and he can skate everything. So I'm hoping that he does that a little bit, but I definitely want to see the big Julian rail tricks.
Yeah, let's get it. Play the hits. Julian Lewis and Don Long.
Mike Sinclair, the team manager of Foundation, calls me. He's like, hey, you should go skate with this kid, Julian. He's ripping. And I'm like, let me see. His footage was so mind-blowing, I literally called him the next day like, hey, dude.
My name's Julian Lewis. I'm from Newtown, Connecticut. I think it's crazy that me and Don are working on this video because when I first moved here, I didn't know him at all and I wanted to be friends with him so bad.
The first thing that I noticed about Julian was that this guy does not care about his body. It's scary, but I'm not scared for him because he's just so talented.
When I started skating, my mom was hyped on it, but my dad just saw it as like a fun hobby. Like, college, get a job, support yourself later in life, and I'm like, yeah, I will. I definitely was trying to prove to my father and myself like what I can accomplish. That was the motivator to keep on pushing. My dad came around a bit when he started seeing me get a little bit of success. Turning pro was definitely like my dream come true. It took a while for it to click in. I thought I really didn't deserve it, and I've always been pretty hard on myself. So now I try to treat myself nicer. I'm more content with who I am, and then I don't need to prove anything now.
Let's film a fish first, and then we'll do long lens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going in the real street, I knew I wanted to work with Don.
I'm honored and hyped to be a part of the Real Street contest. And this is my 6th one. Me and Cole Wilson were fortunate enough to win twice. With Real Street, you always want to showcase your best stuff and present what your take on skating is, because that's so different from filmer to filmer, skater to skater.
I'm known for skating big rails and doing big stunts. For this video part, I wanted to be a little bit more well-rounded. I feel like my skating has evolved. Definitely gives incentive to go hard, because me and Don are a team. I wanted to see us on top. My name's Julian Lewis, and this is my X Games Real Street part.
So that was Julian Lewis and Don Luong. Guys, that was incredible.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I mean, Julian gave us what we wanted, and it was the first part that we had seen where the skating was edited to the music. You know, he's landing on the beats, and there was some B-roll in there, kind of showing a little bit of Julian's personality, and thought it was great. And he also switched it up. I was hoping he would, and he did. Like, he definitely brought some different tricks and elements to his skating. The wall ride, backside nollie flip out was just done so well, and it was like in a crusty street spot.
So there's nothing perfect about that spot, and I can't believe he did like a backside nollie flip out of a wall ride.
It was so good,
That was like my favorite trick in the part, actually.
That first trick is at Colorado Lagoon in Long Beach. I've gone there. That's not a rail people skate. It's not like something you look at. I don't know how he went there and thought, oh, I'm just gonna grind this thing and not fall into the water right here. The wall ride, tail block slide off the fence. Sound is really good. You can hear him like buzzing off that chain link.
He also, you know, gave us a big rail, and then the switch nose manny, fakie ollie, the fakie grind on the kinker. Like, that's the creativity that I want to see in a skateboard video part. Something that I would go to that spot and never think about that in a million years. Right. It's cool to see someone put those two things together.
That was number 4 down. We have 2 more video parts left. Coming up next is Felipe Gustavo and his filmer, Daniel Gali. What do you guys think that is going to be about? Because we know Felipe is a technician.
I see him a lot at contests, so I'm excited to see what he puts out on video. But I know it's gonna be flip in, flip out. Everything's gonna be buttery perfect. Yeah.
All right, so coming up next, one of my favorite skateboarders, Felipe Gustavo. Let's see what he has for the judges. Run it.
Skateboarding changed my life, changed my family's life. It changed my story. I grew up in Brazil. I used to play soccer as a team sport, but I would just come home kind of like mad because nobody gave me the ball, I didn't score. And when I first started to skateboard, it was just me on the board in front of my house trying to kick flip for like 5 hours. I fell in love with it. Started skating contests here in Brazil. My dad was like my biggest supporter. There was like times in life that my dad would not pay the rent. He would just buy the ticket for me and him to go to São Paulo, 16 hours on a bus, win the contest, it would come back. 2006, there was this like overall ranking. If I got the top ranking, they would give me a ticket to go to Tampa, the most famous amateur contest that's out there. So I ended up winning the ranking, but it was a fraud, so they never gave me the ticket. My dad knew how much I wanted to go, so he sold the family car and got us 2 tickets round trip to Tampa. And I remember going straight from the airport to the skate park. We had our luggage and spoke no English. We walked in, and that's when my life changed forever. That was my day. The kid from Brazil, didn't speak English, 15 years old, won Tampa Am. When I got back home, I was like, Dad, I need to go to California. It's been 17 years now. For Real Street, we got to pick a filmer. For me, it's like one of my best friends from Brazil, Daniel Galli. He lives in Portugal now.
Me and Felipe had the idea to film mostly in Portugal. It's a different vibe, just the way spots look, with the cobblestones and all the color of the city.
Portugal is nice and mellow. There's not that many skaters, not that many people. I mean, the fact that we can just skate like 5, 6 spots a day is just incredible. I like to make things nice and clean. I do film things over and over until I get the right one. I want to make sure when I present that to the world, it's the way I want them to see it. That's the thing about this contest is like it's real street. We're really out there trying our best. So I wanted to make sure that this is something that I'm happy with. I'm excited to put this out. This is Felipe Gustavo, and this is my X Games Real Street part.
So that was kind of what we expected to see with Felipe Gustavo, just absolute technician. And Jason, I'll start with you. Like, what did you think about that?
The mirror line was so sick. First thing I thought, kickflip nose blunt, switch flip nose blunt. That's like a tasteful thing to put in your part. Nollie tray flip back tail, you can make that trick not look good. He made it look really nice.
Yeah, and the switch flip back tail, switch flip out to forward, he did with such a short slide. That's so precise to get in that fast and to not slide, get comfortable, get your feet in the right position and flip out. He got in and immediately switch flip forward out. It was honestly as good as you could do.
Yeah.
Every trick in his part was a flip trick. Every single trick involved a flip. And he did the most tricks. so far.
Not many people in this contest could do most of the tricks that Felipe did. And, you know, and also the ending, this, you know, the switch frontside flip, crook grind was just, he did it so well.
All right, guys, well, it's time to move on to our final team, Braden Hoban and Cody Long. And we all know that Braden has just been absolutely killing it over the last few years in competition, for sure in the streets. What do you guys actually expect to see in this 60-second video part?
He's at that sweet spot in his career, you know? You have like these times where you level up a little bit. Like, I feel like he's just rolling. He can do anything. Go to the contest, kill it.
Yep.
You watch video part, you can't believe how good the video part was. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he's got.
I'm never disappointed watching any of his footage or seeing him in a contest. Like, it's like a blessing to watch him skate.
All right, so let's keep it moving. Our last entry for X Games Real Street 2024. Here's Braden Hoban and Cody Long's video part.
Braden just gets clips, always. Even if like everyone's having a rough day, they'll be like, well, at least Braden got like 6 clips.
I am Braden Hoban. I'm from Encinitas, California. Skating's always been a big thing in San Diego in general, and definitely in Encinitas. We had the YMCA down the street. It was easy for my parents to drop me off at the skate park for the day. I was kind of just sharpening my sword. 7th or 8th grade is when I started street skating. My dad brought me and my friends out to the streets, and I realized how special the energy of street skating is. When I was 17, I got invited to go on a toy machine trip. I was just a nervous kid getting thrown into the van with all these skaters that I grew up idolizing. That trip changed my whole view on life. It was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, Braden.
In 2022, I got invited to the Street League Hubba Hideout contest, and somehow I ended up winning. It sparked off everything after that. I got invited to Real Street Best Trick, and then going to X Games.
Braden Hoban! If you haven't heard about Braden Hoban before, you've been living under a rock.
I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to be a part of all these events. It's been amazing.
Dude, just keep falling off of it. What the hell?
Like a wall ride. Pop out.
I wanted to do this whole Real Street video part with Cody Long, but just from being on the road so much, I ended up with footage from all over, but Cody's still editing it.
He had so many tricks to choose from by the end of it. It got to a point where it was kind of hard to figure out what I was actually going to use.
I could go over to Cody's house and we could talk about the vision we want to do, the song. We can kind of just bounce ideas off each other.
I'm looking at the same edit all day. He sees what I don't see, and it's nice to have that interaction like I got with Braden.
I wanted to put my heart and soul in this contest and give it everything I got. My name is Braden Hoban, and this is my X Games Real Street part.
Goddamn the man that I become. There's the breath inside my lungs, and I lost touch of where I'm from. Goddamn the man that I become. The rock upon which I stand, I've chipped away and turned to sand. Love remind me who I
I'm almost speechless.
Really? Wow.
Every trick's like a hammer, and a minute wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, he came out swinging with that big backsmith. That's such a heavy trick to start with.
The backsmith's so dipped, it almost looked like he went to back lip.
I like the feeble grind through that kind of curved rail thing. Yeah, and that last board slide just looked dangerous. It looked super dangerous. Like,
was every trick a rail trick?
But no, there was like some gaps. He did like a hard flip down a gap and a varial heel.
Yeah, that's true.
I got all the tricks in my head still.
Thought he was wearing a cape at one in the third clip. I'm like, is he wearing a cape?
No,
He's got a vest on.
Yeah.
He's so good though. He might as well be rocking a cape.
Amazing. Well, I mean, after seeing that, you know, your guys' work is cut out for you. You guys are the ones that are in charge of figuring out who's getting bronze, silver, and gold. So what do you guys think? Like, how are you even gonna go about this?
I have like 3 or 4 parts in my head that are vying for the top spot. Carlos's part is a huge standout to me. He starts off with a banger. He ends with probably my favorite trick of the whole day, which is the back nose blunt and ollie backside flip. Braden's part is just so well put together. I like Ben Lawrie's part a lot. I think it was super fun. Felipe does amazing stuff. Probably those are my top 4 right now, and I just gotta figure out where they're all gonna slot.
You know, the parts that really resonated with me were Julian and Braden's. I definitely, historically, have kind of been drawn to that type of skating, whether it be my personal skating or the parts that I love to film and edit. So those guys are definitely in my top 3. I really like Carlos's stuff, how smooth he is.
Felipe's skating is so good. Just all the technical stuff like that I wish I could do that I'll never do. And then Braden is doing all the big stuff that I wish I could do that I'll never do. Julian, one of my favorite tricks of all the videos was actually the wall ride and ollie flip out that Julian did. Like, it's so hard. Everybody like really killed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page here, and what I'm hearing from you guys is like what you wanted to see is the full package. You wanted to see technicality, you wanted to feel like the video part was done, like the music was good, and that the editing was cohesive with the style to the skateboarder. So before we get any further, I had you guys write down your scores, and I'm gonna read them off. We're gonna have the medal ceremony right here, right now, right here. So, you guys want to know?
Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Getting the bronze medal with an average score of 86.33, we have Carlos Ribeiro.
Nice.
His part was great.
Makes sense, man. I mean, he delivered.
He got the best trick I saw all day with the back nose blunt and ollie backside flip, so I'm glad he's getting rewarded for that.
Silver medal with an average score of 87.33.
Close.
Very close. 1 point is Felipe Gustavo.
No, Tech's winning right now.
He was very technical, like you guys talked about. He got in quite a bit more tricks than everybody else.
Yeah, I think he did like 17 tricks where most people did around 10.
Yeah.
And they were all gnarly.
He is probably one of the best technical skateboarders I've ever seen.
I would agree with that. All right, so the gold medal with an average score of 91.66 is going to Braden Hoban.
Was that unanimous? I think we all had. I think we might all. It might have been a unanimous.
That's a pretty high score.
Right?
He had the big tricks and he had some technical skating in there. He kind of like, he brought it all. So it makes sense that he won gold, and I'm happy for him. He's a good kid, and
he's gonna be stoked.
That last board slide was so sick. That spot's gnarly. I love that 50-50, like that long rail.
Yeah.
It seemed like a million yards long.
I don't even think we discussed that one. When I first watched it, I openly gasped. I was like, oh, because you can tell how he's just cooking at the end of that thing.
That part was incredible, and I wanted to keep seeing that part like go.
The only knock we had on his part that it couldn't be longer and we couldn't watch more footage. So yeah, he brought it.
Yeah, he brought it.
All right, so that is a wrap for X Games Real Street 2024. We saw a lot of incredible skateboarding. We had great judges that helped us get to our podium. Big congratulations to Carlos, to Felipe, and then to our big winner, Braden Hoban. And we will see you guys at X Games Real Street in 2025. Keep it in the streets, keep having fun. See you guys soon.